University Hospital, North Midlands. He has a deep passion, not only beyond stroke medicine, but for metabolic health. Now, metabolic syndrome collectively is the world's biggest health burden. Obesity and what we eat are modern lifestyles. And so he's going to be exploring how our modern lifestyles are not only prematurely killing us, but also killing the planet. So can we please go for Dr. Ranjan Sanyo?
Good afternoon, everyone. Thanks, Jack, for inviting me to this wonderful event. So the topic is metabolic time bomb. I diffuse it now. I'm a stroke physician. This topic is not directly related to my trade. So this is much more deeper from my personal health journey. And that's what has triggered me to understand what causes disease and how you can be healthy. And that's the journey I'm going to take you through. Just before I go into that, you will understand why I am doing this today. Because in 2015, I was diagnosed with stage 4 cancer. And I was, the lifespan I didn't ask, but it is quite bleak. I think 2 things saved me at that time. One is obviously the modern medicine, which, I had chemo and all the things what you can think of. And the second thing is my use of hypnosis. That is one of my research interests as well. Using it on myself to heal my body and mind, and that did help. But once I survived, the next big question which come to my mind is, why did it happen to me? Why it was me? Why did I had led a very clean life, very healthy life, what I thought is healthy. Still, I had this. So that's what made me take a deep dive into what caused disease, how you can keep yourself healthy, why this time bomb exploded on me, and how I can find out what was the reason for this time bomb in the first instance. And that's what today I have got some answer. And I want to, whatever I have got the insight, I want to share so that you can also apply to help yourself being healthy, to understand what can make you healthy and what causes the disease. And at the end, I'll give a 5-pillar approach which everybody can follow to improve your health, to avoid disease. So that's the background of my... So obviously, the metabolic time bomb is metabolic syndrome. As Jack mentioned, this is one of the most common non-communicable disease facing this world right now. In fact, I would argue it is much more important than, for example, COVID, which killed a lot of people. At this point, more people are being killed because we are just sleepwalking into it. We are sleepwalking. We are not aware. Now, if we take the criteria how somebody could be diagnosed with metabolic syndrome, there is controversy, but the one which I have mentioned, like you have to have high blood pressure, your blood sugar has to be high, or you have got abdominal obesity as we increase waist circumference, and then some lipid abnormalities, specifically increased triglyceride and reduced HDL. So if you have any 3 out of these 5, that is an official diagnosis of metabolic syndrome. At this point in Western world, if we take UK, US, more than 1/3 of the adult population has got metabolic syndrome. But if we take a broader picture, if we take one aspect or 2 aspects of this criteria, 88% of population in US and more than 60% of the adult population of UK has got this. So in other words, all these people are having this metabolic time bomb without being aware. So once we take the broader picture, it's not only that, as you can see, it is hypertension or high blood pressure, it is type 2 diabetes, and you'd be surprised, Alzheimer's, gout, obesity, liver disease, especially non-alcoholic fatty liver disease causing cirrhosis, which is by far the commonest cause of cirrhosis now, acid reflux disease, lipid abnormality, sleep apnea, and the list is, this is not the full list. The list goes on and on and on. Now, what is the fundamental cause of this condition? Now, there is controversy around metabolic syndrome, and whatever I am saying is not in the mainstream medicine now. But whatever I am saying, all is backed by evidence. It's nothing without evidence. There is a lot of controversy regarding metabolic syndrome, but one thing which everybody agrees, that the prime cause of this metabolic syndrome is hyperinsulinemia. So, in other words, insulin level in our body goes up, and as in any other hormone, once the hormone goes up, the receptor downregulate, they get more resistant and causing insulin resistance. And that is the driving factor for all the metabolic problem what we have discussed. So that is the fundamental problem. Hyperinsulinemia leading to insulin resistance. Now, why this is happening? Like, it is much more complex, but one of the most important cause, like if you think of general population, what we do in the morning, we start with a very, as we have seen in the ad, very healthy cereal. What does the cereal do? Essentially, it spikes your blood sugar. It goes up. Now, blood sugar is toxic to your blood vessels, your endothelial cells. So body doesn't allow it. So how can it overcome? It has to secrete insulin. And as soon as insulin is secreted, blood sugar comes down and it dips. And within a couple of hours, you feel again hungry. You have some snacks. And what snacks? Again, that is raising your blood sugar. So these processes going on throughout the body. As a result, overall, there is very clear evidence that the insulin level, if we compare it 30 years ago, is much higher in general population. And because it is higher, there is more, the insulin receptors are down-regulating, they are getting resistant, and then you are having this metabolic time bomb in yourself. So that is the fundamental problem going on. Now, remember, insulin is a villain here, but it's a hero. We cannot survive without insulin. Without insulin, we cannot survive. So it is important to understand insulin has got so much important role in our normal metabolism. Insulin is responsible for getting the glucose in the cell. Without insulin, you cannot get the glucose inside the cell. And it also allows this glucose to be stored as a fat. So it has got important action in glucose metabolism. It has got important action in protein metabolism. We absorb protein, we make protein. Insulin doesn't allow the protein to break down. It allows it to form. So that's an action of insulin as well. It has action on the fat metabolism. It helps to store the fat and doesn't allow the fat to be broken down. So in other words, insulin is a hormone of rainy days. It tries to protect you. It tries to store the energy so that you can survive during bad time. And if we think historically, famine is not that unusual. So apart from these three important nutrient metabolism, insulin has got role in cell growth and proliferation. So insulin or insulin-like growth factor 1 is important in cell growth and proliferation. Without that, cell won't grow. And that's why you get a state of metabolic syndrome during adolescence, because otherwise you can't grow your body suddenly. So it is important as well. It has got tremendous important role in the maintaining the good health of our blood vessels. So without it, the blood vessels won't function properly. we will end up having, clots. We will end up having other problems as well. And last but not the least, insulin also helps to move the ion inside the cell. For example, there are certain ions, potassium, calcium, magnesium, phosphate. They cannot go inside the cell without insulin. So we cannot survive without insulin. And one of the example is if a type 1 diabetes, they are not replaced insulin, they cannot survive. Full stop. So it is a hormone which is important for you to be alive. But as with any other thing, anything in excess is dangerous. And that's what is happening. So this insulin, when it gets resistant, for example, in blood vessels, the blood vessels, their tone normally is maintained by this optimum action of the insulin. You get hypertension. Because of that, you are more prone to form clots. You are more thereby forming heart attack and stroke. When there is insulin resistance in liver, that is one of the prime cause for diabetes eventually. You get fatty liver, insulin get resistant, and you get diabetes, type 2 diabetes, not type 1 obviously. If there is insulin resistance in pancreas, the insulin won't be secreted properly, and you get the diabetes as well. If you look at the brain, you would be surprised. Even insulin has got tremendous effect in brain. It is important for maintaining our cognition. It is important for avoiding neuroinflammation. It is important for optimum release of the neurotransmitter. And if it doesn't happen, one of the prime example is Alzheimer's. It is also called sometimes type 3 diabetes because of the insulin resistance. You are not able to utilize glucose properly. At the same time, you get excess amyloid deposition inside your brain, leading to damage of the brain. Take kidney, it has got all positive effect in kidney, and when that is damaged, you get kidney disease. So you can see all these various factors, you can link it to one thing, insulin. Insulin, excess amount of insulin release, and that is driving all these problems. So the primary problem is for our lifestyle, this insulin level is going up, and as it is going up, the receptor are getting desensitized, they are getting resistant, and that's what is exploding all this metabolic problem, be it heart attack, be it stroke, be it diabetes and its complication, be it gout, obstructive sleep apnea, the list goes on, and you can link it either directly or indirectly to this fundamental thing, and that is driving. So that's what I have understood, that's the metabolic time bomb in ourselves, and what we can do now, and that to understand that, I have put myself in lots of things I've done to experiment. For example, I have fasted for 7 days to see what happens in the body. So I have done, and I'm just trying to summarize what we can do holistically, do in a sustainable way to improve our health, to make us healthier. So that's the 5-pillar approach I have designed, and that can help anybody here. If you are already have got metabolic syndrome, you can control it better. If you are not, you can avoid, and you can live much longer, healthier, fulfilled life. So the first part is controlling the high level of insulin. So how can you reduce the insulin level? So one of the things is our diet, as I have said. We have to change our diet. We have to go back to the basic. Eat whole food, eat true food, eat local food, eat food, make food from scratch. Don't try to, I saw a television ad. Why do you cook? You can order in this online and eat. These are the driving factor which increases insulin and causing us. So we have to avoid that. There is no way. That will save you money. That will eventually save your health. Save this NHS crisis everywhere. It's not about just NHS crisis. Save yourself, save your body and mind. The next important, stop processed food. Processed food, apart from it causes damage, it is very unsustainable. It has huge carbon footprint. So why? We should try to be more sustainable. Get food locally. Encourage local farmer and then eat food sustainably. And that's the much more healthier way. The third aspect, what I said, is, I told that I have put my body to fasting to see what exactly. Fasting is something, it's in all culture is there. It cannot be wrong. So I have tried. And important thing about fasting, time restricted eating. There is evidence, huge evidence emerging that it is useful. There are lots of science behind it, but I'll mention two important signs you can understand. One is autophagy. So when you fast for a period of time, body renew itself. So it will, the process called autophagy, so it will destroy all the cells which are sick, instead replace it with new sets of cells. And I think in 2019, one of the Japanese scientists got Nobel Prize with that. And one of the key factor, if you do fasting in a controlled way, obviously, that you can achieve that. And that's why there is benefit of fasting. The other important thing, obviously, there is one enzyme called SIRT6, which works exactly opposite to insulin. So when your insulin goes up, the SIRT6 activity goes down. And what is the importance of SIRT6? This is an enzyme which is responsible for DNA repair of your DNA, helping to rejuvenate your whatever DNA which are damaged, they are removed, and new sets of DNA which are healthier are replaced. And that's the action of the SIRT6. If your insulin is high, it won't work. So they do work not simultaneously. One will work when other will. So that's one of the important things. Calorie restriction is important. There is evidence. But I feel sometimes if you just stick on to the calorie, it is very unsustainable. But in general, reduce the consumption. That is again sustainable. You don't waste food. Cook it from the scratch. Cook as much as you need. And that way you can lead a much healthier life. The next bit is if you reduce the insulin, obviously insulin resistance will improve. But there are other ways to improve the insulin resistance. So control insulin resistance. So exercise. Exercise is important. Even not only doing formal exercise, when you are going to work, if it is possible, walk. If it's possible, cycle. So this is a sustainable way, low carbon way. Obviously, for insulin resistance, resistant exercise is very important and that should be incorporated. Food, there are certain foods which can improve insulin resistance. For example, there are like herbs, cinnamon, cardamom, neem leaves, fenugreek seed. All these improve insulin. And each of these, I'll tell you how you can monitor, but I have seen that it does work on myself. I can see the glucose level goes down. Having probiotics, having supplements. There are a host of supplements like magnesium, vitamin D, all these helps. And where possible, make fermented food because it will improve your gut microbiome and that will help with your metabolic health. The third important thing is holistic living. Be part of the community. The whole idea is once you do that, there is great evidence that it reduces the cortisol level and it improves the insulin sensitivity. So like stress management using, I would say, hypnosis is a very good way. Meditation, pranayama, all these things can reduce the stress. Spending time with nature. So that's why it's very important to have a community where you have got this nature all around you. Maintain your local environment. Be more sustainable in that way. Happiness and satisfaction. Whatever you do, however small, be happy and satisfied. If you are not, don't do it. There's no reason for doing it. Faith, charity, social work. Again, that's all form of the Vagus nerve stimulation, that's important as well. So you can use vagus nerve to improve. The fourth is monitoring. Now our technology has improved, so we can monitor our blood pressure, we can monitor our blood sugar, and eventually in next few years, we'll have non-invasive monitoring. And all this will give you a feedback whether your journey is correct or not, whether you are doing the right thing, and that is quite useful. And last but not the least, I would like to stress it. If you are already have got effect of metabolic syndrome, hypertension, that don't ignore. The modern medicine is very good in controlling it. You do these changes, but continue the treatment, and gradually your treatment requirement will go down. And following this 5-step approach, I believe you will have a much more sustainable living, and your health will improve. Your health, not only physical health, mental health, physical health, everything will improve. And you will do, your metabolic health will improve. And that's how you can be more sustainable in a way. And I hope that you would take this and introduce in your lifestyle. And if you get some benefit, that would be the best reward for my talk. Thank you very much.